you know, listen, I can solve world hunger right now. Let's just grow more food. It's that kind of argument, right? It's easier said than done. I can tell you that when the video cameras came into the police cars, I was initially against it. My agency was we had video cameras in our cars in the early 90s. So came from a very progressive agency. And I originally was like, I'm not really sure I like this. But then it occurred to me that everybody had cell phone cameras. And I was like, you know what? We may as well have our record as well. I can tell you that from our perspective, we use it as a quality control mechanism. The sergeants had to review tapes. The division commanders had to review tapes. As a captain, I reviewed hours and hours of video. I had officers' cameras on my desktop. It was a great management tool. That said, the outcome of these camera situations was that it exonerated our officers close to 96, 97% of the time. The cameras actually worked better on behalf of the officers. And I honestly think that what they say is if you put body cameras on officers, it's going to work more on behalf of the officers, right? So it's not the panacea that everybody thinks it is. It's not a magic bullet. You have to go into this with your eyes and ears and minds wide open. So, and I'm not a fan of this video. I think it's a pure patchy job. I prefer reasoned dialogue with all parties that are not anecdotal.
Are you also concerned that a camera is not going to capture maybe what the officer actually sees?
Yes.
And then a jury or somebody reviewing that is going to say, that's what happened, that's what he saw. And when he says, I didn't see that.
We're facing this in New Jersey now. It's like the CSI theft. Right? Juries want to see CSI evidence, and if you don't, the prosecutors have a hell of a time getting a conviction. In New Jersey, we have to videotape all of our interviews and all our interrogations, every one of them. So we have rooms that we had to build out in all our police stations. And my fear is that if you get a res geste or spontaneous explanation for a case, someone might walk because the jury doesn't see a video. This is a concern. Disruptive technology is a concern, and to me, I think it's going to be more pronounced when the millennials begin to take positions of trying to predominantly own in the jury. Like my wife gets called to the jury duty every year. I don't know what she did, but she's not a millennial, neither am I. But when the millennials get to the juries, they're very tech savvy. They're probably going to demand videos. So it's an emerging issue. I wish I had the answer. I'm not. Despite what she says, I'm not that smart. But to your point, I had the same fears too, right? Do we trust our police officers or not? We trust them enough to stick a gun on their hip and send them off into the wild blue yonder, but we don't trust them to engage in an investigation and be truthful. So I don't know what the answer is.
Right, so it remains to be seen. So here's where we're at with body-worn cameras. And I will tell you what I've learned outside of the report so far. So you should know that there is a one-year progress report you can get online, and we'll talk about that later, on the 21st Century Policing. And I think I gave you the numbers. They've already given $30 million in grants for body-worn cameras. They're looking for another $30 million. That's not even going to cover it. And this is what I talk about when you talk about tech. Okay, the amount of storage of this biometric data and what it costs, and then what it costs to maintain this data, to review this data, to keep up the cameras, the charges, is more than anyone can possibly imagine. We're not just buying GoPros and throwing them on cops and thinking that solves the problem. It doesn't. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, that this is going to be an enormous, enormous financial resource hurdle. With that said, I know agencies that have begun to do it. I just talked with Courage last week, and there was a chief there from Garfield, and they have now adopted the cameras. And the cops resisted at first, because cops just resist change. That's fine. That's a culture thing we have to deal with within ourselves. The cops resisted at first. There's been 3 incidents already where someone came in with their cell phone video and said, this happened. And they went to the body-worn camera and got the whole video and exonerated the cops. Eventually, it's going to have to move past where not only, where they even move forward at times and press charges against people that are trying to do certain things, but it's exonerated the cops. It is helping law enforcement a great deal, because now the whole picture is being given, not just the 5 minutes that the person wants to throw on YouTube so it goes viral and they get popular. That is obviously for law enforcement a good thing, but a lot is involved. Now, you heard that girl say, I don't like the idea that you can turn them on and off. I want to know who would like to have a body camera on them for the entire 8 hours of the day at work that you could never turn off? How about when you need to go to the restroom? How about when you're talking with your